All right, so the next thing to do is actually make the UI elements. I'm going to switch this back to 2D mode to, hold the score and all that other business, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, that's going to be a special element or game object. So game object, UI, user interface, and then we'll just go ahead and we will add a text one. Okay, so it's automatically going to make this event system, which is basically for buttons and such. You don't need to touch that at all. It's going to make a canvas. Basically, the idea is the canvas scales to the screen, and then the elements, they'll be like text and buttons, whatever, are attached to the canvas. So as the canvas stretches, the elements will move around with the canvas. So anyways, this text, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to click on game here so I can see it here. We will, I'm going to reset the position here to 0, 0. Good, it's right in the center there. And then I'm going to name this score, I think is what it is. Score, and then this and 0. And then I'm going to name this one player score. Player score text, let's say. All right, that way you know what it is. And what I'm going to do is if I hold Alt and Shift while clicking on this, you can set where it's going to anchor to. In this case, I want it to be top left, okay, because that's where the player is. And now what I'm going to do is just position it. I need to move it over and down a little bit, so I'm just going to take this. I'm going to click and drag. We'll say to there. So we'll say, let's go 60 to make it an even number. And then position Y, I'm going to move it down a little, and we'll say minus 25. Okay, just so that it's kind of the same. Now what I can do is that looks okay, so I'm going to duplicate that, Command D, and we're going to call this one enemy score. And you can probably guess what we're going to do with this. So let's go ahead and enemy score. And I'm actually going to change it so it's right aligned as well. And then I'm going to hold Alt and Shift, click on here. I'm going to go to the top right, boom. And then, and so then position X, I'm going to make it minus 60. And then position Y, I'm going to do minus 25 again. Okay, and that way they're kind of similar. Now I could have adjusted a bunch of this stuff here. I'm sure you can figure it out. It's relatively straightforward. All right, so I got enemy score, player score. The other thing I'm going to need is a button, okay? So I'm going to, well, I have it on canvas, go to game object, UI, and we're going to make a button, okay? And basically this is the restart button. You're going to notice that nothing fits the way you think it's going to. That's just naturally the way, it's just a difference of space. So each one of these is one unit. So each one of these up here is, for the text, it uses different units. So it doesn't line up the way you would expect. Okay, so for this, I'm just going to hold Alt and Shift, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right in the center like it is there, which is good. So now it's centered there. And I'm not going to worry about any of this stuff in here yet. Underneath the button, and I'm going to rename this Restart Button. Restart Button. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the text here. I'm going to call it Restart Text. And we're just going to write restart, okay? And basically, when you push this button, it's going to restart. Now, initially, it's not going to do anything, but that's the idea behind it. All right, so we're going to call that good. I don't really care how that looks right at the moment. Good. So, let's go ahead and set the button up. So I'm going to go to Project. I'm going to right-click, Create, JavaScript, and I'm just going to call it Restart Script. Okay, and I will double click on that, and we are going to make a special function. Now, I don't need any of these, believe it or not, because this is only going to run when you push on it, so it doesn't need anything to tell it to do it. We're going to actually call it using a button push. So restart game is what I'm going to call it. All right, so we're making our own custom function as opposed to one of the built-in ones, and all it's going to do is do application.load level. Okay, so one of the things the application can do is load level, and the level I want to load is going to be the application.loaded level. So the level that's already been loaded is the one I want to load. Okay, like that, and that's it. It's pretty simple. So I'll just save that, go back in here. And what I want to do is I'm actually going to attach that right to the restart button, like so. Okay. Now in here, you can see it says on click. The list is empty. So we need to make that when we click on it, something happens. So I'm going to go ahead and hit plus, and it's going to ask for what object. We want to run a script, and it's going to look on an object for that script. In this case, I actually put it right on the button itself, so I'm just going to drop its button right onto it. But I could have put that script on any number of other objects. Then what I'm going to do is it's going to say, okay, the different functions that are in there. Okay, so we have restart script, right? And then, which is what I named it. And then restart game was the name of that specific function on that script. Boom. Okay, so now what that means is that when you push on it, it's going to do that. So if I hit play, we can't see the ball right now, but boom, boom. Now watch. At that, it restarts the game. It reloads it. All right, so that means it's working. That's good. Yay. All right. Okay, so that's all great. I'm happy with that. Now, the other thing I want to do, which seems kind of weird, is I'm actually going to turn this off because I don't want that when I'm playing the game you see it. So we're going to actually, on the restart button, just turn that off. And we're going to use a script to turn it on, that when you lose, it gets loaded back up. Okay, that's the idea. All right. Okay, so next what I need to do is make something that's going to control the game. Okay, so normally, very often I should say, you make an empty, and you'll just call it the game controller. And basically, it's usually the thing that controls the core game mechanics. And often holds the UI elements and things like that. Okay. So we're gonna name a game controller. I'm gonna add a new component. So add component. This is just another way of working. I could do scripts, and I could do not that scripts. New script, and then go ahead and we will choose JavaScript, and I'm just gonna call it the game controller script. Okay. And that will make a new script. Now I'm gonna go back to project here. And you're going to see it made it right at the highest level. So I'm just going to take that and drop that into the scripts folder. Okay. Now I could have right-clicked down here and then dropped it onto it and the whole 9 yards. But I just wanted to show you there's like multiple ways of doing that. Okay. All right. Okay. So now this is going to be a little bit different than what we've done before. First thing I need to do is actually, because the UI is like new, we have to import Unity engine. And if we were in C#, we'd actually have to do this kind of thing every time. But because we've been using Unity script / JavaScript, it doesn't normally have to import like asset or modules or whatever. It just knows how to do it. This is one case where that's not the case. So we're going to do variable p score, and that's going to stand for player score, and that's going to be text. Okay. And the idea is that, and we'll do another variable. This is going to hold those text elements that we made so that we can change them. E score, that's going to be the enemy score. Okay. And that's obviously also a text element. Text. Notice how like these don't even show up as, because it's not innately built into it, but see how like these don't even show up as variables. You know, usually it colors it differently. Okay. Now we're going to need some other variables. Okay, so we're going to need variables that hold the boundaries. So we're going to do variable boundary left. All right, and that's going to be a game object. Game object. And we'll do another one. We'll just copy and paste this. Command C, Command V, and this is going to be boundary right. Oops. Make sure you use camel case. Right object. Now we need some other ones. All right. Static variable. Oops. Player score and int, and we're going to assign it 0. So basically, we're just saying that the initial score. We're going to make it an int because they can't have like a score of 1.1. It's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And we'll just do 2 of these. Command C, Command V. And let's do, okay, enemy score. All right, good. Enemy score, player score, that looks good. All right, next variables we need is a variable for the restart button. Okay, so variable restart, and this is just going to store that button so that we can turn that button on. Okay, so game object. All right, good. All right, so that should be all the variables we need. Okay, So now what we're going to do is make a custom function. All right, and it's going to just be called function display score, and it's going to be boundary. All right, and Boolean. Okay, so you might be wondering what this is. Basically, what happens is that when this gets called, this display score function, it's going to be sent a variable that we're going to call boundary, and it's going to be Boolean. And a Boolean just means on or off, true or false. Okay, 0, 1. It's true and false, really, but basically there's only two options. Okay, so this is actually going to be called by a separate script that we didn't add into. It's going to be actually part of the ball script, but I didn't put that in there yet. Okay, so and inside that function, okay, we're going to say if boundary is equal true. So if it's true, that means that we're going to add to the player score. Okay, so we're going to say player score plus plus. That's just called increment. It's the same thing as doing player score plus 1. It's just like a shortcut. All right, and then we're going to say p score. Then we're going to display the score dot text. So the text attribute of the p score there, we're going to give it a value of score, boom, space, this, plus player score, okay? And that basically just gives the current score. All right. Now, what we're also going to put inside of here is that, as this go, if the player score is equal to 10, meaning that they made 10 points, we're going to have it do this. Okay? We're going to have it do end game. Okay? And what that's going to do is it's another function we're going to make, and that is going to make the restart button pop up, and then we can click on it to restart the game. Okay? But that's going to say the game is done. Okay. That looks pretty good. Now we need to do another if. All right, so this, I didn't do an ending one to that one, so got to go back one here. Good. Now we're going to do another one, else if. We're going to say if the boundary is equal, we could probably, if the boundary is equal to false, okay, so if that Boolean comes off as false, meaning that it's on the other side, it's going to do kind of the same thing, okay? We'll just copy and paste this. Command C, Command V. All right, and it's not going to be player score. It's going to be enemy score, and if I put P score, it's going to be E score. And again, enemy score. We're just changing it, enemy score, and then if enemy score is equal to 10, then end the game. Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, now we need to make a function for endgame. If it calls the endgame, so it's going to be function endgame. All right. Okay, and it's just going to be yield. Wait for seconds. You might remember this one before. Wait for seconds. We're going to wait 1 second. Then we're going to do game over text. Oops, that was right. Over text that set active. So basically we're turning on that game over text we were talking about that we set earlier. And it's not test, it's text. Text set active, and we're going to say true. So you can either be true or false. False obviously would be not showing up. True is showing up. Okay. And then we're going to do another yield. Wait. Actually, that's it. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It's not game over text either. We need to do, it's restart button text. Sorry. Restart button text. Set active true. Okay? And then I'm just going to go ahead and save that. And that is the basics of that code. We'll do the next chunk in a second.